Good evening, young dreamers and old souls alike. As the world outside grows quiet and still, we're gathered here in the soft glow of imagination. Feel the weight of the day melting away, replaced by a tingling excitement for the tale that's about to unfold. Wiggle your toes, adjust your pillow, and take 3 deep breaths. With each exhale, picture your mind opening like a flower to the moonlight. Our story tonight, Goodnight Tennis Player, is waiting to bloom in your imagination. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, young Alex clutched his favorite tennis racket tightly. The day had been filled with the rhythmic thwack of tennis balls, the squeak of shoes on the court, and the exhilarating rush of volleys and serves. Now, as twilight settled over the neighborhood, it was time for this budding tennis star to say goodnight to the world he loved. Alex's father called from the porch. "Time to come in, champ. You've got a big day tomorrow." With a small sigh, Alex looked down at his trusty racket, its grip still warm from hours of play. He whispered, "Good night, racket. We made a great team today, didn't we?" As he walked towards his house, the tennis court behind him seemed to whisper back, "Good night, little tennis player. Thank you for dancing across my lines today." Surprised, Alex turned and smiled at the court. "Good night, court," he replied softly. "I promise to come back tomorrow and play some more." The gentle breeze rustled through the nearby trees, carrying with it the scent of fresh-cut grass and the promise of new matches to come. It swirled around Alex, tousling his hair playfully. "Good night, wind," Alex giggled. "Thank you for keeping me cool during my practice." As he reached the porch, Alex noticed his tennis shoes sitting by the door, slightly scuffed from his intense footwork. "Good night, shoes," he said, giving them a gentle pat. "You helped me move so quickly today. I'll clean you up tomorrow, I promise." Alex's father met him at the door with a proud smile. "How was practice, son?" "It was amazing, Dad," Alex exclaimed, his eyes shining with excitement. "Can I tell you about it while I get ready for bed?" "Of course, my little champion," his father replied, guiding him inside. As Alex began to recount his day's adventures, he climbed the stairs to his room, still holding his beloved racket. His room was a testament to his passion. Posters of famous tennis players adorned the walls, trophies and medals gleamed on shelves, and a calendar marked with practice dates and upcoming tournaments hung by his desk. "And then, Dad, I finally mastered that topspin backhand we've been working on," Alex exclaimed as he changed into his favorite tennis-themed pajamas. "It was incredible. The ball curved just like you showed me, and whoosh, right down the line." His father listened attentively, helping Alex brush his teeth and wash his face. "That's wonderful, Alex. I'm so proud of you for working hard and improving your skills." As Alex climbed into bed, he placed his racket on the nightstand next to him. His father sat on the edge of the bed, ruffling Alex's hair affectionately. "Now it's time for my little tennis ace to get some rest. You've had a big day, and tomorrow brings new opportunities to shine." Alex nodded, his eyelids growing heavy. "Dad, can you tell me a story about tennis?" His father smiled. "Of course, son. How about I tell you about the time when tennis first became popular in our town?" Alex's eyes lit up with interest as his father began the tale. "Many years ago, before you were born, our little town didn't have much interest in tennis. Most people preferred other sports, like football or basketball. But then, one summer, a mysterious old man moved into the house at the end of Maple Street." As his father's soothing voice filled the room, Alex felt himself drifting off into a world of dreams. In his mind's eye, he saw the old man from the story, his weathered hands gripping a wooden tennis racket as he stood on a makeshift court in his backyard. Children gathered around, curious about this strange new game, with its funny scoring system and graceful movements. The story continued, weaving a tale of passion, perseverance, and the power of a shared love for tennis. Alex's imagination soared as he pictured himself in the story, hitting powerful serves, making incredible returns, and leading his team to victory in the town's first tennis tournament. As Alex's eyes fluttered closed, his father's voice grew softer, the words blending with the gentle hum of the night. The young tennis player's dreams were filled with green courts, cheering crowds, and the exhilarating feeling of a perfect shot leaving his racket. Outside his window, the moon peeked through the curtains, casting a soft glow over Alex's sleeping form. It seemed to whisper, "Good night, little tennis player. May your dreams be filled with aces and championship points." And so, as the world outside grew quiet, Alex slept peacefully, his tennis racket keeping watch from the nightstand, ready for another day of adventures on the court. In his dreams, Alex found himself standing on a grand tennis court, unlike any he had ever seen. The grass beneath his feet was a brilliant emerald green, softer than the finest carpet. The white lines that marked the court boundaries seemed to glow with an inner light, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. Alex looked down to see he was wearing a pristine white outfit, shimmering with a subtle iridescence. On his chest was an emblem he had never seen before, a tennis ball surrounded by golden laurel leaves. He realized he was no longer just little Alex from his small town. In this dream, he was Alexander the Great, champion of the Celestial Open. The stadium around him was vast, stretching up into the clouds. The stands were filled with spectators from all walks of life, humans, animals, and even fantastical creatures he had only read about in storybooks. They all watched in hushed anticipation as Alex stepped up to the baseline, a glowing tennis ball in his hand. Across the net stood his opponent, a shadowy figure that seemed to shift and change with each passing moment. Sometimes it looked like a giant, other times like a swift and agile fairy. But Alex wasn't afraid. He remembered all the practice, all the hard work, and all the love he had for the game. As he tossed the ball up for his serve, time seemed to slow down. The ball hung in the air, spinning slowly, reflecting the light like a miniature sun. Alex's racket, now seemingly made of starlight, arched through the air in a perfect serving motion. The moment the racket made contact with the ball, a thunderous crack echoed through the stadium. The ball shot across the net, leaving a trail of sparkling stardust in its wake. The shadowy opponent lunged for it, but the serve was too fast, too precise. An ace! The crowd erupted in cheers that sounded like a cosmic symphony. Alex's heart swelled with joy and pride. This was what tennis was all about. The perfect blend of power, precision, and grace. As the match continued, each point became more spectacular than the last. Rallies lasted for what felt like hours, the ball zipping back and forth across the net in elaborate patterns. Alex hit shots he never thought possible. Behind-the-back volleys, between the legs winners, and lobs that soared so high, they seemed to touch the stars before falling perfectly into the far corner of the court. Throughout the match, Alex could hear familiar voices cheering him on. He glanced to the player's box and saw his parents, his coach, and all his friends from the local tennis club. They were all wearing t-shirts that said Team Alex and waving flags with his celestial emblem. The final point of the match was epic. The shadowy opponent hit a blistering forehand that looked impossible to return. But Alex, drawing on all his training and passion for the game, dove full stretch. In midair, time slowed once again. He could see every fiber of the tennis ball's fuzz, every individual string on his racket. With perfect timing, he connected with the ball, sending it skimming over the net. The shadowy opponent rushed forward, but couldn't reach it in time. The ball bounced once, twice, and then gently rolled to a stop on the baseline. Match point. Game, set, and match to Alexander the Great. The stadium exploded with cheers and applause. Fireworks burst overhead, each explosion forming the shape of a tennis ball or racket. As Alex looked up in wonder, he saw that the stars themselves had rearranged to spell out champion across the night sky. Suddenly, the scene shifted, and Alex found himself back in his bedroom. But it wasn't quite the same room he had fallen asleep in. The walls were covered in moving images, replaying great moments from tennis history. He saw Rod Laver's Grand Slam victories, Billie Jean King's Battle of the Sexes triumph, and Roger Federer's graceful footwork. His trophies had come to life, tiny golden figures playing endless rallies on his shelves. The calendar on his wall now showed every important tennis tournament for the next 100 years, dates glowing with possibility. A soft knock at the door caught his attention. To his amazement, when it opened, in walked some of the greatest tennis players of all time. They smiled at Alex, each carrying a gift. Roger Federer handed him a racket that seemed to be made of flowing water, constantly shifting to find the perfect sweet spot. "For your all-court game," he said with a wink. Serena Williams gave him a pair of shoes that looked like they could float on air. "To help you reach every shot," she explained. Rafael Nadal presented him with a headband that shimmered with all the colors of the rainbow. "To remind you that determination and passion are the keys to success," he said with his characteristic intensity. As Alex accepted each gift with wide-eyed wonder, he felt a tap on his shoulder. He turned to see a young girl about his own age, dressed in a futuristic tennis outfit he didn't recognize. "Who are you?" Alex asked. The girl smiled. "I'm the future of tennis. Just like you, Alex. We haven't met yet, but one day, we'll play against each other in the biggest tournaments in the world." Before Alex could respond, he felt himself being gently pulled awake. The dream began to fade, the legendary players and the mysterious girl disappearing like morning mist. Alex's eyes fluttered open to find sunlight streaming through his window. For a moment, he lay still, the echoes of his dream still vivid in his mind. Then, with a smile, he sat up and reached for his racket. "Good morning, racket," he whispered. "We have another big day ahead of us." As he got out of bed, Alex felt a new sense of purpose. His dream had reminded him of why he loved tennis so much. Not just for the game itself, but for the way it challenged him to be his best self, inspired him to reach for the stars, and connected him to a global community of players and fans. He quickly got dressed, laced up his tennis shoes, and raced downstairs, eager to start the day. His mother was in the kitchen, preparing a healthy breakfast fit for a young athlete. "Good morning, my little tennis star," his mother said with a smile. "Did you sleep well?" Alex nodded enthusiastically. "I had the most amazing dream, Mom. I was playing in this huge, magical stadium, and then I met all these famous tennis players, and they gave me gifts, and..." His mother listened intently as Alex recounted his dream over breakfast. When Alex finished, his mother said, "It sounds like you had quite an adventure last night. But, you know, Alex, dreams like that don't have to stay dreams. With hard work, dedication, and love for the game, you can make your tennis dreams come true." Alex's eyes shone with determination. "I will, Mom, I promise." After breakfast, Alex headed out to the backyard with his racket and a basket of balls. As he began to practice his serves, he imagined the grass beneath his feet turning into the magical court from his dream. Each swing of the racket filled him with joy and excitement for what the future might hold. As he played, Alex thought about all the people who shared his love for tennis, his family, his coaches, his teammates, the players he admired, and even the mysterious girl from his dream. He realized that tennis was more than just a game. It was a way to challenge himself, to connect with others, and to be part of something bigger than himself. From that day forward, every time Alex stepped onto a tennis court, whether for practice or a match, he carried with him the magic of that dream. He played with the joy of a child discovering the game for the first time, the skill of a rising star, and the heart of a true lover of tennis. And each night, as he drifted off to sleep, Alex would whisper, "Good night, tennis. Thank you for another wonderful day." In his dreams, the world of tennis continued to unfold, filled with endless possibilities and adventures. Years later, when Alex had grown into a talented and respected player, he never forgot the dream that had inspired him as a child. He worked tirelessly to create opportunities for other young players to fall in love with the game, just as he had. And sometimes, when the stadium lights were bright and the crowd's cheers filled the air, Alex would look up at the night sky and see the stars twinkling back at him. In those moments, he knew that his childhood dream had come true in the most beautiful way possible, not just for him, but for all the little tennis players who were now looking up to him, dreaming their own tennis dreams. So remember, young tennis players everywhere, when you lay your head down to sleep, don't just say goodnight to your racket and your shoes. Say goodnight to your dreams, your determination, and the beautiful game that challenges and inspires us all. For in the world of tennis, every good night is just the beginning of a new, exciting day filled with possibilities. Good night, tennis players. May your dreams be as big as the open court, and may your love for the game shine as brightly as the stars above. Sleep well, for tomorrow, the game awaits, ready for you to write the next chapter in your own tennis story.